MoistCritikal confronted by Hasan.
Creator Clash, there's one issue that I wanted to
Let's see.
talk about.
Sure.
You recently did something that I personally think is a little bit scary. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but you responded to trolls.
Yeah.
You did it not only once but twice.
True.
And I have a lot of opinions on this because I used to be like that as well. I used to give in, and I still do
This
sometimes.
is so quiet.
But I think that it's ultimately unproductive because I feel like they benefit more from you giving them legitimacy, especially if they're coming at it from not like the standpoint of constructive criticism, but instead simply to gain clout. How do you feel about that?
So
I wish his song would be more specific, although I guess he's trying not to feed the trolls. Recent examples? I can think of a couple of recent examples when he did that. That's a good question, though.
Oh, okay. Can you toss me my phone real quick? Yeah. Let me just see what time it is.
It is almost 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can tackle this and then I'll probably have to head out.
Uh-oh, Charlie's like, I got to bail on this
So-
question, dude.
The way I look at it is I always give people the benefit of the doubt that where they're coming from is a place of good intentions. And I feel like at the core, there was a conversation to be had about the topic, regardless of who was opining on it. So, like, it wasn't just a troll. Like, I still feel like other people had legitimate criticism of it.
I don't know specifically what they're referring to. Do you guys? I grew up as a Christian. I always felt an offness about church and some of the male members there. When I left, they kept trying to pull me in. They pulled me back in. You guys know what he's talking about? Sneeko. Duh. I see. Okay, yeah. He made this big response video to Mew Kitty? I don't even know who the fuck that is. Sneeko, I get, though. Yeah, because he gave Sneeko so much fucking clout. Like, he destroyed him. And then he brings him on to have, like, a constructive conversation. And then in the comments, you see people being like, I guess he sounds like a reasonable guy. And, you know, crash cut to just last week, he's still going on the same shit about anti-Semitism, fucking crazy misogyny. There is nothing redeeming, and it is all bad faith. And so I totally agree with Hasan that I think it was a mistake for Charlie to do that interview and to broadcast it like that. I mean, damn. It got him a lot of views, but the net from that was not good.
So I wanted to tackle it more from that perspective while also maintaining that I disagreed with certain aspects of the situation. I understand where you're coming from, but I always view everyone as coming from a place of like actual care, even though I know that's not always going to be it. Not everyone's genuine.
No, this is literally exactly the same thought process I went through a couple years back. And then once I realized that it cultivates an audience, basically, that for the other party, and
Yeah, I just never really
kind of in the
People saying it's not about Sneeko. I mean, listen, it could be about both. I don't know who the fuck this Mew Kitty is. Who's Mew Kitty? Fansley stuff with Mew Kitty.
space once you open up the floodgates. I mean, look, hopefully it doesn't.
I'll look
doesn't
into
end
it
up that way, but I don't think it was an accident that like shots were fired in your direction almost immediately after the Sneeko thing.
I just always
Okay,
I don't-
Sneeko thing.
I understand that kind of personality exists. I just never really believe it till I see it, because I just feel like people naturally don't want to foster a community like that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah, I just feel like no one really wants that kind of audience in the first place. So it wouldn't be like if it happens, it's something they didn't plan on, or things got misunderstood or lost in translation.
I think I agree with you. I do think that some people do want that because they see the short-term benefits and they don't necessarily think about the long-term consequences of having an audience like that. I've said this to a lot of people who do this kind of content over and over again, that like it's not a sustainable business model for you if you're a content creator and you're like constantly going after like whoever you think is like on the downtrend and like pile onto it and, you know, cut commentary, no matter how silly it might seem. You might actually get like a bunch of haters of that person to come and watch your channel for that brief duration. But your view counts are gonna.
Let me check Charlie's
I was an
channel,
extra.
because I remember the critical video got a fucking stupid amount of views, the interview with him, and all it did was really whitewash Sneeko. Just made him a little more palatable, a little bit more redeemed him a little bit, and it's just such bullshit. 10 million views on this, you know? And you go to the comments.
I know it's April.
And I guarantee you this man has not changed at all. Mad respect for both them talking in a civil matter and not talking over one another. I mean, is that really the baseline here of mad respecting someone? There's no respect for someone like Sneeko. Now, the Mew Kitty shit, I have no idea what. I'm assuming it's. I finally watched it.
You all know I love bad movies. In fact, one of my favorite movies.
No. Mew Kitty. Hypocrisy? That's.
Yeah, I've set the t-shirt to dark mode, which means it's time to go full throttle into the danger zone. No.
Yeah, today I'm wearing my black shirt, which means I'm going full throttle into the buttholes of the internet where no light can come out. The only thing that comes out is shit. A shit so big that it reminded me of my grandma's skin. It was thin and soft and also smelled. My grandma used to always soil herself. I'm taking my gum out, you guys. I have an addiction. What do you want from me?
More granny shifting. We're going to talk about a controversial topic. Fansly advertisements on Twitch. This is...
I did touch on this a bit in one of the previous member ones where it's like... Let me hear his argument.
I've been drafted into and tossed into the front line, so I've been catching fire and getting called out, labeled a hypocrite, and morally flexible when it comes to things my friends do that I call others out for. So I kind of want to talk about this entire subject here because I feel that it's just a load of dirty barnacles to call me hypocritical when it comes to Fansly advertisements. So allow me to show you to your table and deliver your entree of drama that you've ordered. So, the situation in a nutshell. A couple weeks ago, there was the Streamer Awards that happened on Twitch. I was unable to attend them in person, so I received permission from QT Cinderella to watch party them. This was a massive event that QT Cinderella put together. And one of the advertisers for it, one of the sponsors, was Fansly. So during the stream, a Fansly advertisement popped up, and this was my reaction to it.
A free trial of some of our hottest creators. On top of that, sign in using your Twitch account and see which of your favorite streamers are already creating adult content on Fansly. Fansly has a whole algorithm dedicated to discovering new content and creators through the Fansly For You feature. Swipe and discover today.
A very tame giggle as if someone came up and playfully tickled me for a moment. And people were upset because I didn't start spitting and shitting, taking up arms about how disgusting it was that Fansly was being advertised on this broadcast here. Reason being is because prior I had made a video talking about a couple of things. One of them was Aiden Ross when he showed porn to his audience. My statement
now,
was that,
of course, okay, so showing porn, straight up hardcore pornography without warning or notice to a bunch of kids. I know you're not about to compare that to a Fansly ad.
that Aiden Ross went on Pornhub in front of his audience, which a lot of them are kids on the younger side of things. So I said that was weird. That was a weird thing to do. So when I giggled during
that's putting it mildly. Weird. Yeah. You might say that.
Fansly segment, it was used as a smoking gun to call out and attack me for being a hypocrite, because it's the same principle. Fansly was just shown on stream to an audience that undoubtedly had kids watching. How is that any different than Aiden Ross going on Pornhub? Charlie is a fucking hypocrite. He called it out for Aiden Ross.
So is this why he's taking the bait? Because it's so obviously a terrible false equivalency, right? Like, you're showing porn versus showing an ad. I mean, so I guess... Yeah.
But doesn't do it when it's his friend QT Cinderella. When I first heard this argument, I thought it was just a bunch of fish paste. I thought it was being used satirically, because it didn't even compute that people would try to compare these two things. Going on an actual legitimate Pornhub out of nowhere in front of your audience and just having porn, real porn being played, versus an advertisement, which does lead to porn, but the advertisement itself has more clothes on than a lot of things that are already freely broadcast on Twitch that are easily accessible. I didn't think these two things deserved to be on the same playing field.
Was this the gambling people that were coming at him like Trainwreck? Yeah, it's like, dude, what's the point of responding to people that are just so fucking bad faith?